Hey, what's going on in this video? This is part 3.5 or part 4 of promotions in the National Guard, where I'll be covering ERB section 6 through 10 and the state award section. If you haven't watched part 3 of promotions, where I cover sections 1 through 5, go ahead and watch that first and then come back here. But if you have, check this out. So as I mentioned in the previous video, make sure that you print your ERB as you're watching this. Grab a highlighter and a pen and start taking notes as I cover these sections, because it's critically important that you understand each section. Otherwise, you're going to be all over the place and you're not going to be effective updating your ERB. And another thing that I want to note, once again, updating your ERB is not as simple as somebody going in there and just making some administrative changes. It takes time. Every single change to your ERB requires an official military document that goes along with it. So with that said, let me just show you my screen real quick. There you go. So as you can see here, this is my ERB once again. On the last video, I talked about sections 1 through 5, as you can see highlighted in green. And your biggest money maker is going to be section 1, which talks about your overseas deployments, and section 3 that covers your service data. And I mentioned that it's important that your DMs, your PBD, BESD, those dates are accurate. Traditionally, for a National Guard soldier, those dates will be the same. And this is what is used to determine your time in service when it comes to promotion eligibility. So now let's move on to the yellow sections, which is sections 6 through 10, and then I'll cover state awards as well. Section 6. So this, as you can see, it's your military education. For this information to be updated, every single course that you complete, for it to be in here, you need a DA Form 87. So those are your certificate of training. Without those documents, this section cannot be updated. Section 7, this is your college degree. This requires your official transcripts. So for college education, you can't just hand a copy over to your admin, your readiness NCO, or your S1. This document needs to be an officially sealed copy of your transcripts, sent directly to state schools, or just Google, where do I send my transcripts for Army National Guard, and then your state. And there should be some information on that from your state headquarters, and an address where you need to mail your transcripts, your official copy of your transcripts, directly to state. And this needs to be a sealed copy. This is the same for every state. I take it, this is National Guard wide, so I don't think there's a difference from state to state. That's essentially it. Make sure that it accurately reflects your semester hours. For me, because I've gone through three or four different colleges and universities, I had multiple transcripts, and my semester hours weren't accurately reflected. So I made sure that I had the admin NCO go in there, check my transcripts, and then make sure that that information was updated. That's pretty straightforward. Moving down to section 8, this is your money maker. This information in section 8 needs to be identical to what's on your DA photo. If that information doesn't match, that's where you can get into some trouble. So make sure that whatever you have on your awards in section 8 is the same thing that's reflected on your rack, on your DA photo. It's critically important you get that done, otherwise you get into some trouble. Either points taken away because you don't have your awards reflected on your rack, or stuff that you have on your rack that you don't have on your ERB. So once again, the form that you need to update this information is your DA Form 638, which is your recommendation for award, and award certificates as well. So make sure you forward that information to your unit. Section 9. If you're a specialist, obviously you won't have an NCO ER. This will be blank. If you are an NCO and you have a newer NCO ER, then what's the date reflected here? It just means because of EES, it won't be official until HQ validates that your evaluation is accurate and information is correct. So section 9 really is your duty stations, right? And the reason why it's important is because when you're being considered for NCO ranks, especially as you're getting up to E6, E7, E8 rank, your duty title, your previous duty titles, is extremely important to how they evaluate you. As you get to the higher ranks, they're looking for breadth in experience. So if you're a line unit soldier, combat arms soldier, and all you have done is combat arms positions, they're looking for people who have breadth, people who have done different, have held different positions other than their primary position. So for example, when they're looking at my records, they're looking to see, you know, that I was a team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, that I also did some staff time in S3 operations, or if you're an admin person, that you did some time as an S1, you know, that you've had different, you know, types of experiences that add to the value of you taking on a senior position, right? And this is the tricky part too, because let's say you are an E4, but you've been a team leader for, you know, a couple of years. If you don't have orders assigning you to that line and paragraph number that states you are in that slot, it doesn't matter if you have a team and you are acting as a team leader in your unit or a squad leader in your unit, and you have the lower rank, you're an E5 and you hold in a squad leader position in your unit. If you don't have orders assigning you to that line and paragraph, it won't be reflected here. So if you think this is inaccurate, that you were a squad leader, that you held that line and paragraph in the past, look for your orders in your IPERMs or a physical copy of your orders assigning you to that position. Otherwise, it's a moot point. Don't even bother arguing. You're just an acting squad leader or platoon sergeant, but you weren't assigned to the actual position officially in your line and paragraph in your unit. Section 10, there's nothing here really that you need to worry about in section 10, with the exception of state awards. So with the state awards, this is unique to National Guard. The active duty version of this obviously won't have a state award section. And remember that your state award should only reflect the state awards for the state that you're in. Meaning, if you came from a state in the East Coast and you joined in the East Coast in Florida, let's say, you joined the Florida National Guard, and then now you are in Washington National Guard, all your state awards for Florida National Guard will disappear because you're no longer a member of that state. So it will only reflect, or should only reflect, the awards for the state that you are assigned to. So if you were in the Florida National Guard and then you move to the West Coast and you're in Washington National Guard, it will only show the Washington National Guard. If it's showing your old states for awards for your old state, make sure you have those removed, because it's no longer valid. You're no longer part of that state. And this is where you have your service ribbon, your awards. Make sure that this information here is the same as your rack. If you have more on your rack than you do on your ERB, you can get into some trouble. And then your DA photo. So according to the Army regulation, for male soldiers, your DA photo should be updated every 5 years. And then it's strongly recommended that you take another photo, or it's required that you take another photo if you received an award of an ARCOM and above. What else? Obviously, if you change ranks, you take another photo, or if there's significant change in your appearance, you take another photo. For senior enlisted boards, I know that at least some MOIs may state that they want a photo within 60 days, because they do want to look at your appearance, you know, the most accurate reflection of your appearance, because this is going to go to state, and these are people that don't know you, so they want to know what you look like at the current time. So if there's significant change in your appearance, if there's a change in your rank, for some reason you never updated it from the last time you got promoted, or if there's an ARCOM and above, you know, definitely take another photo. For female soldiers, they want a photo within a certain amount of months after you give birth. So if you're maternity situation, they definitely want a new photo, I want to say 6 months after you've given birth. I strongly recommend that 60 days out, you know, if you put it in a packet, definitely take another photo. It's simple. Just search where your DA, your authorized DA photo places are in your state, and find one close to home. You can also, you know, go into an active duty post if you live close to one, and they'll take it. Once they take it, they have all your information. They will update that information automatically in your record, so you have a full DA photo as part of your IPERMs. And then, you know, you validate it. Once you validate that photo, it'll, over time, maybe a few days, it'll show up on your ERB. All right, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out my social links and follow me on Twitter. at part-time first sergeant and use the hashtag drill weekend and I'll find you. Thank you very much.